I can still hear you. That's good.
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay. See if I can get you to show up on the screen. Yep. That's a
Got
good
me?
thing. Yep. All right.
Cool.
And yeah. All right. Let's see. Got it. Wait a minute. Because I've got that one in the background.
You got too many things going on.
I do. All right. Let's see here. And it won't let me minimize. All right. Let's see here. Can I minimize? All right. You there?
Yep, I'm still here.
I think I chose the right
Still
one.
got me?
All right, we're good. All right, here we go.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to get that little part figured out. All righty. Here we go. Well, DH is not going to take it away because DH is not here. The DC will take it. All right. Welcome in again to another edition of D&D Dynamite 80s from Nashville. And we got a special guest. We got Zkye Compson-Harris joining us from South Australia. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good,
Yep.
good. We
Doing
appreciate you taking some time to join us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's nice to hear the Nashville accent again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can't help that. I've been around here all my life.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Let me start with this first. I had seen your work on YouTube. It's how I, found you, and I was interested in because there's a lot of musicians that are kind of doing some of this with some of their career, and that's doing like the '80s covers. Is that something that you've done for a while? Is it or pretty recently, or how's the deal on that?
It was just sort of by chance that it happened to be 80s songs that I got asked to do. So with the Sing It Live YouTube channel, they sort of go through and check out what songs are going to sound great for this band, for this singer, and it just so happens that all the 80s stuff is just it rocks. It's good solid songwriting. Still when songwriting was a real. I mean, there's obviously great songs being written still today, but there was just a bit more guts and So it was just by chance that a lot of the 80s stuff. I mean, like the Cher song that I did. I mean, that's just a blast to sing. That was great fun, and it was just by chance that they've happened to be 80s kind of big hits. I mean, some of them I what is the one? I don't think Slow Hands was a 80s show. I think that was 70s, I think.
The duet, Bryan Adams duet.
Oh no, that one. Yeah, that was probably
with Tina Turner. It was.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. I noticed that one. And of course,
Tina.
Sweet Child that you have.
Sweet Child, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was even more fun to sing.
Sure,
Get my rock chops out.
Yeah.
So so it was just by chance.
Okay. While we're kind of on that topic, why do you think some of that stuff's still hanging around so much with different age people?
Different age people. I think it's mainly because the kids these days are getting played that from their folks. So it's like how
Sure.
music gets passed down through the generations. You know, they're hearing it played by their folks in the car or whatever, or being tortured by it, and it hangs around. I mean, it's like any good music. I mean, even going back to, you know, your Fleetwood Macs and things like that. I mean, any good music is just good music. So kids will grab onto it, you know, and enjoy. I mean, even there's a lot of stuff that comes out now that sounds like 80s. Sorry, my dog's got a squeaky toy. But yeah, I think it's hanging around purely because, you know, they hear their parents playing it, and it gets into them from there, and then it becomes popular as well. And then, of course, people from my generation, I was born in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up just hearing it played on the radio and whatever, and didn't really pay that much attention to it when it was, you know, being played. And then, you know, you get back into it when you're older and you go, I remember that. I was like 6 years old, and
you know,
I remember running around the bedroom with a hairbrush, singing into that.
We've had several musicians say that it's a feel good music to people too.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
And because you can sing the choruses, you can and really, you know, have a great time singing out the choruses, and even to a lesser extent, you can actually remember the verses. There's so many songs where you see people humming along in the verses, and they wait till you get to the chorus, and then they're screaming along, and then, oh yeah, what songs, like, or you're starting a song at a gig, and they're like, I don't know this song, what's this song? And then you started, it's What's Love Got to Do With It? And they're like screaming along and going, yeah, that's right, I love to.
You gotta hit the chorus,
Yeah, you gotta, don't bore us, get to the chorus. It's like, oh, come on, guys, come for the whole ride.
Right. What got you started in it? Musically inclined family, or what?
In music, when I was a kid, I grew up with classical music, so I was a classical pianist.
Oh wow!
And then I took classical singing lessons as well, but with my voice, which my voice has been, you know, I've always been an alto or even lower than, you know, a tenor, or, you know, I'm on the low side of things, but do all the belting and all of that stuff. But I was right into classical music. My grandparents were classical musicians, and my dad, he was more into more the rock. And then like my favorite album is Paul Simon's Graceland. That's my favorite album of all time.
What about that?
And Dad used to blast that one, and I loved it. However, Mum's taste was more in the Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan sort of thing, which great songwriting, not so much as a vocalist, you know, kind of thing. And she was also into Janis Joplin and Marianne Faithfull, so I sort of got a big variety from that. And Dad played some Hendrix and things, and then my brother was into rock, so, you know, like Queen and that kind of thing. And then my sister got into my taste, which was, she's more into anything from Jeff Buckley to Etta James.
Oh wow!
And,
okay.
Yeah, and then a family friend came to stay with us when sort of semi-lived with us when I was probably about 12 or 13, or maybe even a little older. And he was right into jazz, and so he introduced me into Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald. So I was really cool at school listening to my Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald albums, and I got right into jazz. So then, of course, my classical piano teachers went, you ain't gonna swing classical, because I was thinking, you know, this is great fun, you know, look at what I can do. They're like, go have jazz lessons.
Right.
So I sort of moved on to there, and then I'm right at like anything from 1920s, 30s jazz, blues. Yeah, like even earlier Memphis Minnie and that sort of stuff, to Susan Tedeschi, Derek Trucks. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I still get off on the classical music, like classical piano, and so I'm kind of everywhere.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Speaking of the jazz, I've seen a few YouTubes of you. Does that come real natural to you? It seems to be.
It feels good. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I
Seems to
like
be.
singing that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I really like singing. I like the melodies, the structures of
Mm-hmm.
the melodies, and instead of just either hammering on a pentatonic sort of minor pentatonic thing or a blues scale, and there's movement into the melodies and the chord progressions, and yeah. So I really enjoy singing my way around that. Can't scat to save myself, so I don't try. Leave that to Bobby McFerrin and and
Yeah.
all the folks that,
Right.
but
Right.
doesn't mean I don't try. When I occasionally I'll do something terrible, like I'll look at the guys and go, I'm gonna do it, and I'll start taking a trombone solo with just my lips. It looks good for the stage.
Right. 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 If I saw this correctly, did you actually record like some albums or music here in Nashville area? Did I read that
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How'd
No,
that how'd that all come about? About coming
um
to Nashville?
coming to Nashville, so Damien, my partner, he'd gone to Nashville. We had friends that lived there, and
Mm-hmm.
he went to America before we'd hooked up, and this was going back 12 years ago, and he had already gone there and caught up with a friend of ours who's another Aussie guy, because there's a lot of Aussies in Nashville, as
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're aware, and yeah, he hooked up and went over and stayed there, and then we went back a couple of years later, and I went for the first time, and a mate of ours, JT, who's since passed, he said, "Would you like to record something here?" I'm like, "Oh, that'd be awesome, yeah." And then he just sort of made it happen. He said, "Who do you want?" And Damien said, reeled off a few names. He said, "I'd love to play with this guy and this guy," and he's like, "We'll make that happen." And it just all fell together.
Wow.
And so my second album was half recorded in Nashville. We did 5 tunes over there, 5 tracks, yeah, and then finished it off here. And it was a great experience for first time getting to record over there with some really cool
Yeah.
cats.
Yeah.
And then my third album, we did the whole thing over there, and yeah, that was crazy. That was at Blackbird. Yeah, at Blackbird, and that was just something else. I had the most phenomenal backing vocalists that had worked with everyone, and they just took it to another level. And because I sort of write, I guess, sultry, I don't know, it's sort of like a mixture of country, soul, bluesy kind of stuff, and then randomly I'll throw in something that doesn't fit with anything else. Like I've got a dance track on the end of one of my other my second album, which doesn't fit with anything else, but I don't care what the rules say. You don't have to make
Yeah.
things make
Yeah.
sense. When it's your album,
Do
just
what you
go
want.
for it.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
so I've been really, really lucky with just that experience. And I mean, we've got great players and great studios here, but it ain't like Nashville.
Is that right? Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing: having zero musical talent whatsoever, and just being right down the street, I have no clue about how you hear. This is the place. This is one of the places
Yeah.
to be. This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until you hear from some of the guests that we've had that, yeah, I know
Yeah.
this studio player here. I know this studio. I'm like, that's just amazing how you make those connections and those relationships.
And everyone's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
we've been going down down through the honky tonks, and like, what are you doing playing here? I thought you were. Oh yeah, I was recording all day, and then he's doing a 6-hour shift at one of the bars there. It's
Wow.
like crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
they work there. Those musicians there work their asses
Studio
off, but they have to.
submission. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got to keep their seat. I mean, you got to keep working, otherwise someone's going to come straight in and
Take it.
and take
Yeah.
it.
That makes sense. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Yeah. We had this has been a few months ago. We had a group that does Toto tribute music,
Oh, right.
and,
Yeah.
and all those folks are studio musicians,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
And
to hear some of their stories and stuff like that, it's pretty neat stuff.
yeah.
And
And they'd
that's
always
how
play
they
the
got
music.
hooked up. This one person knowing another person, and hey, I think y'all would hit it off working together here, and
Yep.
make something happen together here, and all that good stuff. So that is
Yeah.
that's just fascinating to me how all that works, and
Yeah. I mean,
it's the love of the music.
yeah.
That's
Love
the
music.
bond, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And anyone, when you say, I mean, you get a few fakers in there, and you say, oh, I'm a musician, and you prove yourself a little bit, and then everyone's like, okay, well, let's do this and cross here and go there.
Mm.
And music's just a big family, basically. We're
Yeah.
all,
Okay. That makes
well,
yeah. That makes great
yeah.
sense. Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess it helps that it's this kind of folks around this area too, that
Yeah,
friendly people and things like that.
very
Because I
definitely.
know it's as you know, it's a massive booming place in the world right now. That's
Oh,
for
it's
sure.
going crazy as
Yes,
well.
it
I mean,
is.
everything's, yeah,
Yes, it is.
yeah,
And it just
yeah. I
seems
mean,
like obviously with the lifestyle difference, like of because of course L.A. and New York have I guess their music places too, but Nashville's just different,
different
isn't it?
fact.
It's just
It's
different.
different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's
I've heard that a
it's
lot. I've heard that a lot.
yeah,
And like I said, growing up here, you don't understand that if you're
yeah.
not involved in it. You don't
That's
get
it.
it. Yeah. So
But you get to see
fascinating.
lots of great stuff coming through when
Unbelievable. Yeah, and
yeah,
meet just great people, and it is a special kind of situation. That's for sure. Um,
definitely.
let me ask this as well. Um, other than and I don't know history background to Australia at all. I'll just go ahead and be honest. Obviously, men at work.
Yep,
Okay, but give me
yep.
some other folks that kind of touched the '80s
Well, Chisel, Cold
from that
Chisel.
area.
Yeah.
Who
Cold
else? I'm
Chisel,
sorry.
Cold Chisel,
Yes,
definitely.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um. Oh God, this is my brother's territory. And my husband, my Damien. I
Would I
need the
be?
other half.
Am I wrong saying Olivia Newton-John
Yeah, Olivia Newton-John. Yeah. Well,
was
see,
Australian, right? Okay,
she's
okay,
Australian. Yeah.
okay, okay.
She was Australian. Yeah. I mean,
Yes, okay.
I grew up with Olivia, of
That's the
course,
only
in
two.
Greece.
Yeah, that's the two that kind of came to
Oh,
my mind.
no, there are lots more. I just can't think of them right now. You put me on the
Yeah.
spot. You should have told me earlier. I would have written down a bunch.
Yeah, but the men at work, just unreal talent.
Yeah.
Grew up loving their stuff for sure.
And that came over to him, and because I've got to try and think. I mean, In Excess would have been around.
Okay,
Not sure if
okay,
yeah.
okay.
And oh gosh, blue, electric blue. Oh, I can't think of what. There's I mean,
That's okay. That's all right.
there's so many
Yeah,
great Aussie bands that were right around
yeah.
that era. I have to look at my CD collection.
That's got to be kind of that's got to be a proud thing too. That's cool because like
Definitely
when we have some folks on from the UK and we'll talk about some of their particular stars that they've had.
yeah,
It's just unreal to me.
yeah,
The special bond of that decade of music that
yeah.
just went all over the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of crazy that I mean, people got, because we really don't sort of in Australia. There's the mentality of you've got to go somewhere else to make it to have anyone give you credit in Australia. There's sort of that, whether I'm going to get in trouble for that, but it's true. They you've got to go somewhere, prove yourself, and then Australia goes, oh yeah, thumbs up. But you have to sort of get out to get back in, which is I guess harsh, but that's pretty Aussie.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
That's okay. Somebody that especially being in the teaching profession that I am, if you were trying to give advice to younger people, especially about not giving up on a dream or not cutting yourself short because you think you can't do something, what kind of
Yeah.
advice would you do about keep pursuing this music thing if that's what you care to do?
If that's where your heart and your head lies, then just do it, because you're not going to be happy until you've proven it to yourself. I mean, I've been on that road of not having anything to rest on.
Yeah.
No other job. I've been a musician since I was 16 years old, and it's. I mean, I taught music for a bit, and yeah, I haven't really ever done anything else. I mean, I write. I'm writing a movie at the moment,
Oh,
which
fantastic.
is slow going, a cartoon, and trying to write a book. But these things, all take time. It's a lot harder than writing songs for me. Songs you sort of got your structures. But movies and things, they're long. They take a lot of words to get through. So I think not having something to rest back on, is really good. And just back yourself 100%. People will try and knock you down and not give you positive energy to sort of say you can do it, but just back yourself 100% and go, well, this is what I want to do. I believe in me and I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And whether or not, and fame is a fickle word, whether, to be successful is to basically play music full time and be able to make a living out of it. If you're doing that, then you're a success.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about, don't
the rest
worry
of
about
it. It'll take care of itself. The rest,
the rest of it will take care of itself. And if you're able to, pay the bills, be comfortable and happy, then you're a success.
Have at it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Glad you mentioned about the songwriting, because that was coming next. To me, the songwriting thing here would be the whole thing be challenging to me, but what I think would be the biggest challenge, and it may not be to you, is the melody going with the wording. How both those are they two? Do you do it separately? Try to do it together, part and part. How I don't know how any of that works.
I come up with a premise, so I come up with an idea for the song, and then I'll sit down at the piano, and often I'll come up with a little melody that'll be stuck in my head, and it usually just pops up with a lyric, and it'll have its words going through, and I'll just have this melody going around, and then I'll go sit down at the piano and find out what the progression is that I'm hearing underneath it. And then it usually all writes itself together. So I write simultaneously. So I write I'll usually have an idea for the first verse or a chorus, and then the chord progression, the lyric, and the melody all come at the same time. I mean, with a melody, I usually, because I'm a piano player, I like to sort of fiddle around and go, okay, that's the first melody I'm hearing, but what can I do to make it more interesting? So I'll, work around whatever chord progression I'm playing with, and instead of singing what's first in your head, because that's usually just a simple melody, you go, okay, no, let's wham one of these in there and make it a bit more interesting. So I write sort of simultaneously with lyrics and everything, and I like to get it all done in the day that I'm writing. I don't like letting the song rest half finished, because then it never gets finished. If I leave it, it won't get finished. So I like to write it all and get it done.
Take it on then, yeah.
Damien will be saying, you don't need to finish it all today. I'm like, no, I need to finish the song, get it all written, and then come back and rewrite the whole song. You got to work.
That works for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess when it comes down to it, like a lot of different things, people just they handle it differently.
Everyone writes completely differently.
Because like I've read these crazy stories. I can't recall who the actual musician I read the story about, but I read it, and it ended up being a hit song. well, I wrote the lyrics to that thing in like 10 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? I mean, how does that happen in live to this successful song that you've wrote in 10 minutes?
yeah.
That's just
And
over
then
my
and
head
then you get
talent. I don't know.
yeah, and then you get people like we used to when we were there. I'm not sure if you know Red Lane, and he was a good mate of ours before he passed
Mm-hmm.
some years ago, and he was a great fella. And we just sit in mate's back sort of man cave, and he'd just tell us stories, and he'd speak very quietly. And he told us about Miss Emily's picture, how he went about writing that, and he said he wrote it, and then he rewrote it, and he rewrote it, and it took him, I can't even remember how long it said, but it was a long drawn out process until he said every word in that song had to be there and it was meant to be there. He said everything else, got rid of. And yeah, stories like that meeting people like that have been doing it for so long that I don't even have words to express.
Yeah.
I mean, he really helped fill my head with possibilities of songs and what's out there. And would say, all the songs are out there. You just have to snatch them, especially in Nashville, because everyone's songwriting them. They're all out there. You just have to grab one. And that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I wanted to throw in this as well. The Sing It Live people.
Yeah.
Are those folks that you've known, pretty much for a good while, or is it pretty recent? Okay.
No, for most of them, I've known a good long time. Like Darren on the keys that does all the hard work.
Producer. Yeah.
I've known him since I did my first album when I was 21 or 22. He was working in a studio that I was recording in, and so I've known him for a long time. Damien, of course, the other half of me. And Stefan's one of my best mates, so I've known him for a long time, and since he was, before it was legal, I've known him, and he's one of my best mates. And then all the other guys, I think there's so many of us now in the group, and Nikki and all the girls and everyone. Yeah, we've all known. I mean, we're all a pretty
just blown away with the talent. Just amazing.
Everyone's so talented and so cool.
Yeah.
Everyone's really humble, really cool. No one's trying to ego on top of each other and or things. So everyone's really just good folk.
Sure, that's important. Yeah. Well, and it shows. It shows in the work. I'm curious. Is that really his basement?
It is. It's really his basement studio.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go. All right. I was just curious. I didn't know if he called it that or if it actually was his real deal.
No. We you walk in through the garage and there it is off to the left. I mean, it's a pretty funky basement. I mean, it's a pretty cool studio basement.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our studio and this is just a bedroom.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something about that setting. It's just it's a neat deal. I think that, and to be honest with you, I think that was another thing that kind of got my attention. Is like, this is cool. This is a bunch of friends hanging out and playing some great music. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the impression you get when you see the videos.
Yeah, and it's like it's in. Oh, that could be in my living, my living room or something.
Exactly.
So it feels like you're playing. Yeah.
You're playing it to those people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that was. I love and look forward to the new ones always coming out.
It makes it comfortable and casual, and we're still working and sweating our asses off, but it still makes it welcoming kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
While we're on that, and I told Darren that I would give a shout out because I asked him for permission to run that opening part. I always like to do that. I want to get their permission. And he said that you guys, I think, a Christmas album with you on it just came out today or something like that.
It came out today. Ooh, I didn't know that. Is it the first?
Now, that may not be right on your time.
No, you're right. You are right.
Okay. So talk to me about that one for a minute.
Oh, it was a lot of Christmas carols earlier, because we did that
Yeah.
a month and a half ago, I think it was. There's a lot of Christmas carols going on for pre-Christmas, kind of over Christmas now. Done that, been there, sung
Sure.
Christmas.
Yeah. Wore you out a month or two ahead of time.
Yeah, that's it. But it was really cool, and it's a cracker. It's really good. It's got all sorts of, from Christmas carols to funky Christmas carols to songs you don't really think of as Christmas carols, but it's kind of got the connotations of. So yeah, you just have to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to check it out. Where can people pick that up at?
Oh, I don't even know, because I didn't know it had come out yet. On the Sing It Live, I mean, Darren will have something.
Okay.
So
on the Sing It Live. Sing It Live. Check out that website.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's set up very well. So go there and check out their stuff. That's for sure. What do you got? What do you got here coming up for yourself?
Surviving Christmas.
True.
Because we've got. From a couple of weeks ago till Christmas, basically, or till next year, the new year. We've got anywhere from we had 9 gigs in 1 week a couple of weeks ago, which was hardcore. And so we've just got a lot of gigs coming up, so mainly live stuff. Still a bunch of recordings and things like that. I've got to find some time to record some stuff that I want to do, because I want to get some more stuff on my YouTube channel, which at the moment I have 2 songs. And I'm getting hassled by people left, right, and center saying, "When are you going to put more stuff up?"
Yeah, put some stuff out.
More
search
content.
and find you other places.
I've just got to find some time to be able to do it. And
finding time, that's the key part.
Well, because as the voice is an instrument, but the voice gets tired by Monday. I'm stuffed from the weekend of 7 gigs or whatever, and I don't want to sit in the studio and sing. And then by Wednesday, it's like, oh yes, it's time. Oh no, we've either got to do this.
It's ready to start over again. Yeah.
So basically, just all of that, and hoping to get back to Nashville next year. Really, really want to do that. So we'll have to hook up and do an interview in the same room.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. We would love to do that. Come out and check y'all out as well, wherever you're going to be at. We'll definitely make that happen. Let me kind of, as we kind of close this out, and you mentioned it, it's kind of ironic that you mentioned it on the front end. Of course, we lost Christine McVie today from Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And what a talented musician.
Amazing.
And it has been amazing, the amount of, just articles and, people with sentiments coming out, all this stuff of how her talent touched them. And just
I was
shout, so
I'm
thoughts go
a
out
big
to her
Fleetwood
family and friends and fans and all that, but unbelievable.
Big loss. I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan. I love Fleetwood Mac. Rumours is one of my other, next to Graceland, that's another one of my absolute favourite albums.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to see Fleetwood Mac with all of them playing here in Adelaide. Damien was doing a musical, and I spoke to my pop and said, "Do you want to go see Fleetwood Mac?" And he's like, "Oh, let's see if we can get tickets." And we got great tickets, and I lost my shit. Basically, I was so excited, and they were all playing, and it was amazing to see all of them together playing. Because that was a life tick, basically, for me. I mean, sometimes we don't get to see everyone that comes through, because one day either skip Adelaide or we're working, and usually when people are playing, but I got to see that one, so I'm pretty happy chappy. But very, very sad that she passed away.
That's a special memory. That leads me to this one too. If you got a chance, any of these big name folks like we're talking here, that you got to sit around and do a little session with, you got one that's really at the top of your list, or is that too hard?
Oh, that's pretty hard, man.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just so many. I mean, past and present.
Sure.
I mean, I'd love
if you had your chance at either or, one that's past or here still.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be able to talk to Billie Holiday, and
Awesome.
I mean that's going back some, but I mean, stories
I
and
get
things
it.
I mean, any of the Fleetwood Mac crew, I'd
sure
be very happy to sit down and of course, I mean, there's just too many. I mean, I can look up at James Taylor. I'd love to sit down and chat with him.
Oh wow, sure.
Bonnie Raitt, definitely. I mean, I've seen her a few times, and I love Bonnie.
Okay.
And there's just there's too many. I can't narrow it down to.
Yeah.
And all the Motown singers and
I love Motown, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, Aretha, I'd love. There's too many. I could sit here and reel off names for forever.
Sure.
Carole King.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Zkye, we appreciate your time. Can you hang there as I close it out?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let me send it to my sponsor here, and we'll get it on out of here.
Beautiful.
All right, so that's going to end another one. Folks, next week we got our Leonard Skinner tribute. Looking forward to that. A couple of the band's best friend, one of the band's best friends that was on the plane, will be on guest, along with a couple of the first responders to the plane crash. Will be on as well, along with a couple of folks from two different tribute bands. So we're gonna enjoy that special show next week. So tune in there on that one for live as well. We'll see how that one works. But Zkye, appreciate your time tonight. All the best to you and your family, and we look forward to seeing you in Nashville real soon.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. I hope that was all good and I didn't muff my way through too much.